Welcome to a special Saturday night edition of Keeping It Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Evan. Another victorious edition. We love to do those. Can't always make it happen, but definitely enjoyable. I went to the game today. I'm Ryan Evan. Joined as always, Kevin Ducey. What's up, Kev?
What's up, my friend, man? A lot better mood today than I was after Wednesday night. Always enjoyable to beat the Hawkeyes. So that's great. So how was the experience for you and your family at the game today?
So my daughter had came to a lot of football games with me. So, I'd taken her to so many football games since she was, 4 or 5. She's 14 now, and she had never came to a hoops game with me. So I was like, you know what? What better time? I was like, Iowa, coming off one of the worst losses you could ever imagine. And I was like, you know what? I think we're going to be good luck today. And I was like, and guess what? We ended up being able to watch what a game. I mean, it wasn't just Illinois' 1,000, Big Ten wins, but it was the emergence of Nico Moretti, who she thinks is a superstar already,
Yeah, absolutely.
Coleman Hawkins getting his first 30-point game and showing everybody, why he should be an all Big Ten selection. And also, let me say this. I have to start out with this to show you what he's really made of, because when someone has the kind of game he finished with at Penn State, it could be really easy to come out that next game and either be flat or just be another guy out there and even maybe have an okay game. He was special today. And so special that John Beeline said Coleman Hawkins is one of the most talented players he's ever seen in the Big Ten. Okay, if that doesn't tell you something from John Beeline, then I don't know what does. And I like the background. We got to get it flipped around, even though it's good. I like it, Kev. We just got to get it the other
I was just trying to have something where my head didn't fade into the background. Maybe I can wear a hat here.
Because I was trying to read it, and I'm thinking, man, I can't read. Anyway, Hawkins went off, and just seeing the depth of the backcourt, and then seeing a full line change, Kev. Atmosphere, I applaud the fans. There was nearly 16,000 people there. They were loud. It was loud. You could probably tell on Big Ten Network. And then we went to Jarling's Custard Cup, Kev, after the game.
Nice.
Yeah, and so what a finish to the day. And
what a great experience for your daughter there and for the family. And it's always great to beat Iowa. I was funny as I listened to, I listen to Sleepers a lot, and you and I, they had a little bit of beef with our show, so to say, and we butted heads. But I've talked to Greg and Carter through the DM chats on Twitter, and those guys have been complimentary and great. But one of the things they talked about on their show is like, hey, is Illinois Iowa really a rivalry? And I think they're much closer to your age than mine.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Gen Xers, man, like this is absolutely a rivalry. We hate them. We realize what Iowa and that program did to our program 30 plus years ago and did to a good guy like, dude, it's the reason Lou Henson isn't in the Naismith Hall of Fame. And it's a reason why, Deion Thomas wasn't surrounded with talent. It's a reason why Juwan Howard wasn't an Illini. It's a lot of things. And so there's no love lost for Iowa, and that extends to Auburn because of Bruce Pearl. And I know that as those folks a little bit younger than us, and I know you got no love for Iowa, but it's a genuine hate, man. Like I've got no love for that program, and it's a rivalry to me. And man, hey, we talk about Coleman Hawkins having a great game, dude. I think Coleman Hawkins has one loss in his career against Iowa. I think Coleman Hawkins.
That was last year in Iowa City.
Yeah, and then I think that Coleman Hawkins has. He might have lost his he was on that freshman year.
I think he's lost twice tops, but I think he's won like 5 or 6 times. So
yeah, and he's undefeated against Michigan. I'd love to see what his record is against Wisconsin. I mean, that's pretty damn cool, dude.
I think Greg Waddell's like a year or two younger than me. I think he's like 34, and Carter's way younger than me, so he definitely doesn't understand that rivalry. It was instilled in me when I was 7, when my grandpa told me that The whole Deion Thomas baloney and how that put him on probation, and that really just caused a lot of issues in the program. So that already instilled in me the bitterness to them. I got to be honest. There is no hatred. I don't necessarily hate. I think because of how our beliefs, I think me and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can hate a program because there's not a certain individual around
Yeah.
it. Like I'd love to have a beer with Fran McCaffrey. There's a reason why Fran McCaffrey and Brad Underwood are friends.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why after the game, I know everybody wants to talk about Brad Underwood and Owen Freeman.
You see how big of a hug they get?
Yeah. But also Brad and the older McCaffrey, I'm missing his first name. Is it Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick and Connor. No, Connor McCaffrey. Yeah.
Like Patrick and Brad after the game were like this. You know why? I wouldn't be surprised if Brad's been at Fran's house and drank some wine with that dude. Like they're buds. Yeah. And Fran McCaffrey's a really cool dude. Like I don't actually hate anybody associated with the program. I just hate the program.
Yeah, okay. Well, I get what you're saying, but I understand the bitterness and towards the program, and that's okay. There can be some bitterness. That's fine, But yeah, so I get it. And those guys, and I'm glad that whole thing with Sleepers is done, and we're going to eventually get some collaboration work going on with them. We've 100%. Talked to them a little bit, but I can tell you this: the only reason that happened, I stay in my lane here. And you give so many other people love. I think one day we'll get some love from people who can maybe break free of that. But is because when people said, this show's Keeping It Orange and Blue, we just basically see through orange and blue sunglasses, and I just had to correct that because we keep it real. It's not a Kool-Aid drinking podcast. So,
and frankly, what they were arguing with us about, if I recall correctly, was kind of around what Ty Rodgers said about the quality of the players in the program and the quality of the players that left.
Yeah.
Dude, are you not seeing that this year? Are you not seeing we did a wholesale hockey line change today? And who was the first guy off the bench congratulating everybody? It was TSJ followed by Ty Rodgers. Like, I never saw Quincy and Ty played 3 minutes in the second half. I never saw either one of those guys mope. Did they want to be in the game? Hell yeah. I wouldn't want a player that didn't want to be in the game. But they were up there high-fiving teammates. It wasn't a Jaden – and I don't give a shit. Like, I don't like the guy, like, frankly. It wasn't a Jaden Epps situation against Northwestern where we're making a comeback and he's sitting on the bench moping. We didn't with Sincere Harris and less of that.
I don't wish bad on anyone, and
I don't wish bad on them.
But I can tell you this: Jaden Epps is averaging about 8 threes a game, and he makes 2. Okay, to me that means 25%. To me, though, I'm okay with that being away from the program.
Yep, amen.
We don't need a ball dominant, shooting dominant point guard at Illinois who only shoots 25%. Okay, RJ Melendez, talented as all get up, but you know what? He almost is hesitant to shoot threes anymore. I was watching Georgia and Auburn tonight. Dude wouldn't look at a 3. It's like they're leaving you wide open, bro. Go ahead. He's nope. And then Sky Clark in Louisville. Payne's going to be fired here. He's going to be gone soon. So
I almost give I give grace to Sky and RJ. I pull for both those guys. I mean, I'll be frank, dude. Like I think Sky came into a situation. He was really heralded. And he was hurt, and he wasn't quite himself, and he didn't know how to quite fit in, and he didn't play well. He had moments. Yeah. And then RJ had the shoulder hurt, and it just didn't seem to fit. And that's fine, dude. I wish both those guys well because I think other than the supposed locker room incident, which we never saw, which, we hear about third hand, I never saw anything bad from those guys. So, dude, I pull for you. Yeah, Verdonk went to South Carolina. I think he might be done by now.
He's on the bench. He plays 2 or 3 minutes a game.
Well, good for him. He's on a tournament team. So
yeah, he's going to be. He's going to be playing a tournament team. So let's jump into this too. So
sure,
lot to dissect. So, even though the team gave up 85 points, the reason why I'm not as upset about the point because I said I tweeted earlier as you all saw. If Illinois gives up more than 75, Illinois is not going to win today. Well, the reason why, Cody, I said he was kind of trolling Illinois last year when they lost to Arkansas. This guy was, but that Illinois, it was the field goal. So Iowa was on fire in that first half. Let's just be honest, okay? Some of those shots Iowa was making were just tough, contested twos from, how many Josh Dix was tough, man. I think Josh Dix is going to be a really, really, really good player. I think he's going to be. He reminds me a lot of, and they get a lot of these guys. Joe Wieskamp. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good. Yep, I see that.
Dix and Wieskamp are pretty similar dudes. Wieskamp drafted, plays in the NBA. I think he was on the Spurs. He may be in the G League now, but he had a couple years in the league that he was actually on the Spurs. But tough. I mean, they're making shots. I mean, they shot 67% in the first half, and Illinois was still winning. People, Illinois was winning at half, and Iowa shot 67%. So you looked at in the second half, Iowa shot 35%.
Yeah, finished the game sub 50.
Yeah, so defense was way better in the second half, really when it needed to in crunch timing and the biggest moments of the game. Terrence Shannon, of course, great one-on-one. Really did a great job on Perkins, who seems to go off on Illinois every game.
Yeah,
which is just really disheartening to see. But he did a really good job at the end of the game. Basically, they stopped doing as many switches at the end of the game on Perkins. I noticed a lot of that. And then, and how about Nico Moretti coming in and playing some really good D on Harding when he was in? You needed someone quick and shifty to stay in front of him. And even on Sanford, Damask got beat a few times, but they really did a good job on Peyton Sanford. If you watch the Michigan State game, he went off on them, okay? Illinois limited him. I don't even remember. Maybe he made 1 3, Kev, but that was the key to the game. Of course, scoring 95 doesn't hurt, but 95 doesn't hurt. I think Illinois could really put up 85, 90 on anybody, honestly.
We've scored 80 against every team this month. It's insane.
Like in a Sweet 16 type of game against like a Houston or an Iowa State, I don't think we'd score 90. But against most teams in this country, that is why I think Illinois is a Sweet 16 team no matter what, because I feel like unless they just give up 100, I think Illinois can pretty much outscore anybody in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and furthermore, I mean, like scoring 80 plus a game in every Big Ten game is impressive. They scored 80 tonight when their top 2 leading scorers, guys who averaged almost 38 points a game between the two of them, scored combined for 20. Like I think the biggest takeaway from this game is kind of leads back to a concern / strength we had leading into the season. If this is October and Ryan and Kevin are having to keep it orange and blue night before the season starts, you could probably go back to it. I said, honestly, I'm worried. Like, there's only one basketball. Like, what are they going to do with all of these guys? Dude, we played 10 guys considerable minutes tonight, and we look like a team of depth. We all know Dane Danger can flat out put the ball in the bucket. He should have probably had 10 points tonight easily.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, missing those layups just hurts,
Yeah, just missing 2 shots he doesn't miss, right? He's a 64% field goal shooter coming into the game tonight. Nico Moretti / DGL, like, I don't know why DGL didn't play at all, and it was Moretti, but that's fine because Moretti played great. Hansberry is by far and away the best player on this team about walling up an opposing post. And frankly, that's awesome because I don't give a shit if Amani Hansberry fouls out. Like, I really don't. Like, I love the guy. Like, go in there. And if you got to go get 5 fouls and 7 rebounds and a couple putbacks, like, do that. We saw that tonight, and it was the defensive struggles of the quote-unquote starters / first team that created it. And let's be real here. Like, the bench has been about 8 people deep because Moretti and Hansberry have been hampered by injuries that have kept them off the floor. Mm-hmm. And at points in time in the season where we didn't get to see what they were able to do, Brad Underwood took a really ballsy play and did a line shift tonight and allowed guys to play who hadn't played a whole lot of minutes. I mean, Moretti hadn't played in 2 games, and, you and I have a soft spot in our heart for Nico because he came on this show, and we really appreciate it. And then, dude, all of a sudden, like, that guy can play. Like, and I wonder, like, I want to temper some Illini enthusiasm here because I do think Nico Moretti will be a really fantastic point guard for Illinois in the future. I think Iowa's style of the guards that he was able to guard kind of fit. I mean, That Dix kid's pretty damn good, and so is Harding, but they're not super physical guards. And Dix made some physical plays today.
Yeah.
You can't put Nico Moretti on AJ Hoggard. Like, that's not going to work. I mean, AJ Hoggard is going to demask him. He's going to booty ball him. He's going to Jalen Pickett him.
Dix had a move on Shannon late that was impressive.
Dude, it was really impressive. That little left-hand finish.
Yeah, I was like thinking, oh, Shannon's got him. You ain't getting around him, dude. You ain't gonna. And I was just, I'm up in low 200s. So, I'm almost in B, but I was just like, I'm like, man, he's got him, dude. We got a 5-point lead. We got the momentum. And then all of a sudden, up and under left hand, I'm like, man. I was like, I thought he was just going to be, pulling up from 15. But yeah, so I 100% agree with that. And you can't have Nico on bigger guards like Hoggard. And but then that's when Ty Rodgers, I think, is getting – you got Ty, who
I think same way with like a Chucky Hepburn. Like look at games coming up. Elijah Hawkins, maybe, I don't know. Like we'll have to see it.
True,
we'll have to see it.
Yeah, true. I think that's going to be good for him to get some more tick. And there's been times when Dre Gibbs Lawhorn came in and he tried guarding some bigger guys. It happens, but
I don't want to speculate why Dre didn't play tonight, but I have to wonder. Like, and listen, Dre, like if by chance you or your mom or your family are listening, I'm not saying this happened, but I have to think as well as he played against Penn State, in my opinion, the fact he didn't play tonight tells me there's something small, like broke a team rule, late for shoot around. I don't know what it is, but if I had to guess, that's my guess.
Yeah. Now let's get to, because it's just so much a topic of conversation. I want to get the numbers right. I know he's got a 697 win percentage. Let's see if I'm right. I think it's Brad Underwood is 106-48 at Illinois.
Yeah.
And he's 66-30 in Big Ten play.
It's pretty impressive.
For anybody, I just throw these out here because I get one or two people a week that are always like, oh, the Brad defenders. Oh, they're never critical. And I'm thinking, if y'all haven't seen my Twitter, I'm very critical of the team. I've been super critical of Brad when he doesn't make adjustments and wants to be stubborn. And by the way, it's very few and far between, because if you think about that, that's a more than 2-to-1 win ratio in Big Ten play for you people out there.
And that's with the first 2 years of the roster being kind of like, eh.
Yeah, exactly. And that was with the 2 bad years at Illinois. Okay. Yeah. So think about, I wonder what we took to take those 2 first years away, what his record is at Illinois Yeah,
we could go look that. We could certainly go look that up. And
I guarantee you it'd be jaw dropping.
Right.
It'd probably be like a 0.8. It'd be like an 800 winning percentage,
And it's weird to me because I think Brad Underwood would tell you the same thing. Like, this is the first Illinois defense in his tenure. Like, don't get me, the first 2 years, the defense wasn't good, but that, and a level of that was by design. We didn't have a rim protector, and we didn't have very good offense. So Brad was trying to create offense through defense by getting turnovers. We were actually one of the top turnover producing teams in the nation. And I frankly believe that was because we didn't have a very good offense. And Brad's like, I'm looking for ways to get layups out of this. Those were the only 2 years up until this year where we weren't a pretty damn good defense. And frankly, for the first half of this year, we were a pretty good defense. I don't know what's changed. And I think Brad finally had enough today, and that's why he did that wholesale line change. And not only did he did the wholesale line change, but he left it in there. I fully expected the under 16. It was going to come back. And it went down to like the 13-minute mark. Like, it was impressive, dude. I was like, okay, Brad. And those guys held their own. They played hard.
And I was watching Brad, too, on the bench. I don't know if you guys could see it on TV because sometimes the camera – so when the camera's down on the other end, I'm watching Brad, what he's doing with the players. He was literally in their faces like going, do you see this is what it takes? He's like, look at this. He's like, wake up. He's like, watch these guys. He's like, these are the guys who are playing under you, okay? These are the younger guys on the team. He's like, wake up. You know what I mean? Like, that's the message is that, do you see these guys on? These young, hungry dudes are out here battling, and you guys are sleepwalking the first 3 minutes of the game, second half. He's like, wake it up. And you could tell. I think that really was like, I think that you could just kind of see Hawkins in particular took it, I think, very, very pridefully like, hey, I know what look at Amani out here battling.
Right.
Like I'm gonna come step it up. And even though Damask had a rough day, necessarily, he had a rough day scoring. But let me be honest, go back and watch the highlights from the game from the University of Illinois web's Twitter and all that. He had 4 or 5 amazing assists today.
He did. He
He
really
had
did.
Guerrier with the lob, dude. He had a beautiful little dump down to fucking to Danger. He actually hit. He had 2 or 3 for 3.
Hansberry. The Hansberry pass was incredible.
Yes,
it was right after Hansberry made an incredible defensive play too. So that was amazing. That was great.
So people, it's like, oh, Damask only had 8 today, 10 today, whatever. It's like he did more than that. He does more than that, guys. Like,
well, wait a second. I really think what happened today is transformational in what's going on with this program. In the last 16 or 17 games, Marcus Damask has played in 33 or 34 minutes in every single game except Michigan until today. Like the guy's probably a little fatigued, man. And not only like is he playing that much, but he's bringing the ball up, and teams are realizing, hey, one of the ways we can get easy buckets against Illinois is to force full court pressure on a guy who's basically played a big 3/small 4 his entire college career. And he's done yeoman's work at being that guy. Like, I give him grace, man. Maybe he was just a little fatigued today. Like, maybe he's a little tired, dude. Ace Baldwin probably took something out of him, dude. Let's be real.
And even Ace had trouble really taking it from him, I think, once or twice. But, but he still handled his own one-on-one. And then he had that big 3 when it was tied at 65. So Damask did more than his share today, I feel like. But then seeing Shannon, who really didn't have to be the All-American today because Hawkins stepped up. But here's who I'm going to give some more kudos to.
I think Terrence was All-American on defense, especially in the second half.
Hell yeah. Justin Harmon, you get some applause today.
100%. 100%, because he was so bad on Wednesday. No offense, Justin.
You didn't play the first 17 minutes, and Brad said that in his press conference.
Yeah.
He said he was so upset he gave up 5 back cut layups. And he was just like, dude, you can't. And people were like, he's not talking about Harmon when he said, I'm going to be sitting guys. No, he was talking about Harmon. And Harmon responded with what you would hope a 5th-year senior who knows this is his last hurrah would respond, which is, I'm taking that not as a personal shot at me, but I'm taking that as I can be better, and I'm going to show you I'm better, and I have pride in my game.
He had 12 points on 3 field goal attempts.
12 points, 3 field. How about those rebounds? That putback dunk he got fouled on? I mean,
incredible, dude. Like, he was – hey, and listen, I thought his shot attempt against Penn State to win the game was I thought what he did there was pretty incredible. Like, I mean, some guys melt in that moment, and I thought he got fouled, frankly.
Yeah, you just knew they weren't going to call the foul there, though. Yeah.
No, they're not, and I'm fine. And I'm fine with that.
That ball could have bounced either way. It could have bounced.
Dude, it was right there. And for a guy who played really poorly in that game, for him to do that, and then for a guy who sat for 17 minutes today, that's some grown man shit right there. Like, that's all that is, dude. Justin Harmon, Nico Moretti, and Coleman Hawkins today scored 51 points on 17 field goal attempts. They missed a total of 4 shots from the field and 3 shots from the free throw line. 51 points on 17 field goal attempts. That's 3 points per field goal attempt. That is the definition of efficient offense. Kudos to those guys. They deserve all their flowers. All the Coleman haters, 8 for 11 for 30 points.
He was special today when you look at his
– He was special. Thank you.
That's all you can say, man. He's special. Special.
And Jay Bagan chimed in and said they weren't soft today. Coleman shot 11 free throws today. I'd really like to know what his career high today before this was. I bet you it's in the 5-6 range. He went to the cup with authority, absorbed contact, got shots up, and went to the free throw line and made his damn free throws.
There was. Let me tell you though, that first half, the officiating was rough. I mean, I was watching. I'm thinking.
I disagree with you a little bit on this, and we can talk about that.
All right. The only reason I say that though is at one point though, with 7 minutes left in the first half, it was 4 fouls on Illinois and none on Iowa. And I was thinking, dude, I even said this to the people next to me. I'm like, have you guys seen pretty equal, both, but some hip checks here and there, boxing out, some slaps on the wrist, so yeah. Well, look at the fouls. Like, to me, though, while it evened out in the second half, there was no way in hell, Kev, that Iowa hadn't committed a foul yet. I think it may have been with 10 minutes left, but still, my point is Iowa did not play a clean first 10 minutes. And there was not one foul, Kev. And I was just like, I mean, really? So I was like, I hope this isn't going to be the trend. While it did make up for it in the second half, because at one point I'm thinking and Fran, I think, really hurt his team today. There was a moment, Cricky had 3 fouls. He kept him in the game. He picked up his 4th within like 45 seconds. And then Sanford had 3. Perkins had 3. I'm just like, and he's leaving these dudes out here. And then, man, guess what happens? Sanford gets his 4th.
My only issue with the officiating is they called it loose in the first half and tight in the second half. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand why there's a switch. I would much rather call it loose and allow guys to make some sort of contact with each other, because I think there's a level of consistency you can do as an official. But at the same point in time, like on that Quincy Guerriere dunk, Tony Perkins fouled him.
He did. Like, I'll probably go back and screen grab it and post it. If you go watch it, he clearly hip checks him.
Yeah.
Okay. So if
that would have been a second foul, and he picked up his 3rd foul 20 seconds later.
So do you guys remember this from Nico? Walled up, straight up on purpose.
Oh, dude, that was terrible.
Okay, that's a foul on Moretti, though. But what he literally hip checks Guerriere on the dunk and nothing. Like,
by the way, Ryan, I gotta take a quick moment here. My boy Cody Delmendo is on the show. Cody's associated with the CHGO podcast. Is one of the best podcasts that's out there concerning Chicago sports, specifically Bulls, Cubs, Bears, White Sox. Like, Cody, really appreciate you tuning in, dude. It means a lot. Love what you guys are doing at CHGO. If you are a Chicago sports fan like I am of the Bulls and the Bears and the Cubs, tune into that podcast. Listen to what those guys are talking about. They do a phenomenal job. Appreciate you, my friend, for tuning in, man. It means a lot to me to hear you pop in on our podcast.
You beat me to it, my old Cody, man. He's from my neck of the woods. He's from
that's a Decatur's finest?
He's from Niantic-Harristown area out here. Yeah.
I just saw it, dude. I was like, oh, shit, Cody's chiming in, man. That's royalty chiming in.
I got to be honest. I am super proud of him, because 2 or 3 years ago, he messaged me and he was talking to me about Illini, and he basically told me like, hey, dude, I love what you're doing. And, I'm just trying to get into this thing of podcasting. And it was before he got hired there at Chicago Sports. And he was just really trying to he was really like, it was like, I want to be successful at this. I want to make this a career. Like, he's like, I just want to kind of get a feel for what you do with your podcast, and we just became friends. And I saw him at the Northwestern game when we went last year.
Yeah.
Up in Evanston. And so I'm proud of him. He surpassed me on followers on Twitter now. Like, yeah,
dude, he's doing a great job.
He's doing a great job. So I'm proud of him for that. I think he's in Arizona at the spring training stuff with the Cubs right now.
Dude, that's dope.
Dope. So I'm proud of Cody, and he tries to tune in from time to time.
Heads up, I was in a cab last month, Uber, in Denver. Got picked up by my Uber driver. She's got all this Denver Bronco stuff behind her on her Uber page. So we start talking about Denver sports, and she's like, dude, have you turned into the PHX, the DNVR podcast? And I'm like, yeah, I follow CHGO. As a matter of fact, I think Cody follows me back. And she just went on and was like, this is the best. They've got the best sports network out there for following professional sports. So, Cody, testament to what you're doing, my friend. Thank you so much for chiming in. Really appreciate you. Lazy Forrest Gump chimes in that your coverage is great, coming from a Cardinals fan. So we really appreciate you, my friend.
He does have his own Illini show. He does, but I told him CHGO needs like a Illini segment once in a blue moon, man.
Cody needs to come on our show. Come holler at us. Like, we'd love to have you, man. Anytime.
Yeah. And by the way, Herb Lawrence, I'm a big fan of that dude's.
Absolutely.
Herb Lawrence has always gave me love, dude. From the moment I started doing my thing on Illini, and I was like, hey, dude, I'm trying to get some traction on this tweet. I know you got like 15,000 followers. I was like, would you retweet this for me? Because I'm like just trying to get my videos out here. Boom, he did it every time. So then people would be like, oh, who's this guy? This guy has these Illini opinions. I like this. Boom, boom, boom. My followers started going up. So shout out to Herb from Chicago as well. So anyway, so Brad Underwood deserves credit. He's been an amazing coach. So 5 straight seasons of 20-plus wins, Kevin.
Ties him with Lou Henson's only coaches in program history to do it.
Yeah, so again, there's reasons that that's crazy that Bruce Weber never did that,
9 years.
Yeah, so
inherited a Maserati.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just saying, Brett Underwood is worth what he's getting paid, and I feel like this year's the pay in, the cash in on the March success. So.
Well, I think that Brad did some things today, and I'm not an Underwood hater. I'll frankly say I lean way more towards the Underwood lover side of things.
They know that. They all think that's all we do is kiss.
I know, and I'm okay, and I'm okay with that. I think Brad, and part of it is because when I watched Brad do what he did at Stephen F. Austin, I wanted us to hire him then, and then he went to Oklahoma State, and then we got him the year after. So I was pining for Brad, and we got him. And then furthermore, I met the guy, and he was nothing but genuine first class to me when I met him. Cool as shit. I wanted to go have a glass of red wine or drink a beer with the dude. But frankly, I'll tell you, I don't think he did a good job in the Penn State game. I don't believe it was his fault, but what he did today really appeased some of the guys who were frustrated with him, and that he did some in-game adjustments that took some stones, and I was really proud of that. But I want to harken back to some of the commentary that was probably taking place with Illinois fans on Thursday about frankly, I think there were some Illinois fans that were wondering whether or not Brad Underwood is truly the guy at Illinois, as we dropped a game that we shouldn't have. And I want to clarify a couple things. And I think that we get caught in our own micro bubble of Illinois fandom. Go look at every other team in college basketball outside of UConn and Purdue, which both had losses recently to teams they shouldn't have lost to, and look at the amount of losses that these really highly ranked teams have experienced at home or on the road.
Thanks, Dave Hagan. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, against teams they shouldn't have lost to. They have all done it, dude. Honestly, if Illinois finds a way to beat Penn State, should have won that game. Beat Northwestern at Northwestern, should have won that game. And beat Maryland, should have won that game. Those are 3 games we know we should have won. You could throw another one in there. I don't know which one you want to throw in there. Fine, whatever. Illinois is 20-7. That puts us at 23-4. We'd be the 4th 1 seed. And I understand that actually drives some vitriol and some frustration with Illinois fandom. But then it makes me take a step back and say, in the last decade, look at the coaches that have been hired for Big Ten college basketball programs and tell me one guy you'd choose over Brad Underwood. You literally have to go back to, I think it was 2007, when John Beilein was hired at Michigan, before you would choose any of those coaches over Brad Underwood. 2007 was 17 years ago, folks. He's the best hire in the Big Ten in 17 years. 17 years. Do you want to go get the next Chris Holtman, the next Archie Miller? Stop it with the nonsense.
I would say this, you've got John Beilein and Matt Painter, and you got Brad Underwood.
Yes, amen. And John Beilein exceeds Matt Painter because John Beilein had amazing tournament success.
Yep.
John Beilein is a phenomenal coach. He's he's honestly, in a handful of coaches, I would call the best coaches in the history of college basketball. And he frankly doesn't get his due because he didn't win a national championship. Nobody in the history of my watching of college basketball could take a 3-star and turn him into a 5-star like John Beilein. Trey Burke was nothing. Karis LeVert was nothing. He is on an island unto himself with doing that, and he had great tournament success. Matt Painter, with the exception of one Elite 8 run, does not have much tournament success, but is a phenomenal coach.
Yep.
All Brad Underwood needs to do is win a game he shouldn't in the NCAA tournament this year. and we're all in love with him, and that's what we're waiting on. Like Brad Underwood. Hey, here's the thing. I'll say this all the
Or
time.
how about this, Kevin? Or win a game that they should win, maybe in the second, even in the second round.
Brad Underwood has 2 wins as an underdog in the NCAA tournament and 1 loss as a favorite, dude.
Yep, it's true.
The Loyola game clouds so much about what's going on with Brad Underwood. And frankly, I think that team in the year before was the team that was going to go beat a 3 seed as a 6 or a 7, or beat a 2 seed as a 7 and make it to a Sweet 16 or even Elite 8. Or everybody was like, yeah, but the tournament got taken away from that team. Yep. I mean, Iowa was a 2 or a 3 seed that year, and we beat them in the final game of the season.
Yeah. Oh, and let's just be honest. Anybody remembers that year? Illinois was on a roll to end the season.
That team was going the right direction.
They had to win like 2 or 3 in a row just to get that 4 seed. And they did. They earned the double bye. Like, that was a fun. I'm going to tell you what, you guys want to watch a fun game again, just go back and watch that game. That Iowa game. It was like high level shit. You know, like, dude, like Wieskamp was on, Garza was playing well. Dude, they were up on us like 16-4 to start the game.
Dude, I watch any game with Andres Feliz in it.
Yeah, and Feliz and Frazier were all in the second half, and then Io was Captain Clutch at the end. And then the Kofi block on Garza, his time expired on that 15 fall. Dude, that game was fun. And I remember I was like so excited that night. And then less than a week later, it was like, it's done. Like, I just remember I was like, so heartbroken because I'm like, we're going to the tournament, this breakthrough, we got it. And it's like, no, you're not. But that was a fun year. It was a fun team. And I guarantee you, if you look at his record from that season to now, we'll find it. I'll post it on.
No, it's in line with your 66 and 30. That's the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't look that up. So that's accurate. Once he got his players in, once he got his team in.
Yeah, 66 and 30, and then 106 and 48. Come on now.
No, I do agree. Like, Brad has struggled with a little bit of in-game adjustments. The one aspect I'll fire back against any Illinois fan that wants to argue this with me is that Brad's too stubborn to change. I'm like, I'm sorry. This is the 4th different style of defense he's ran at Illinois in 7 years. It's the 4th different style of offense he's ran at Illinois in 7 years. Like, you can't run this defense with Kofi Coburn. It doesn't work. You can't run this defense back in when he first started with Georgie as your starting center. And you certainly can't run this offense with Kofi. Like, there's just they didn't run this offense before Kofi, and they didn't run this offense with Kofi, and they're certainly not running this, and they are running this offense after Kofi. Brad adjusts, dude. He really does. Does he adjust in game on the fly very well? Probably not his strongest suit, but I'll take a coach that leads his team, recruits really good players, and actually that was the knock on Brad when he got here. Can he recruit? And we've had people ask us on the show, is he the Ron Zook of Illinois basketball coaches? And I'm like, well, the knock on him before he got here was they didn't know if he could recruit because the only D1 job he ever had before this, he inherited Jawan Evans. And actually, Brad's shown that he not only can recruit, he can recruit really high-level high school players, but he can recruit really good transfers. And like my man Wally just signed in, like the development of the players that are willing to stick in, like you can see it. Coleman Hawkins was – what, top 150 recruit? Barely, like maybe a 3-star. I mean,
yeah, he was a top 150 recruit. He was a 3-star team player on the prolific prep team that I was telling you guys about. So I was at the Chambana Classic, and they had 5-star Namari Burnett, who Texas Tech ended up getting, who Illinois wanted, and then they had Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Who was like the number 1 or number 2 player overall in the country. So they had 2 top 20 kids. They had Mawat Mag on that team too, by the way.
Yeah.
And who was a 3-star kid, and Coleman Hawkins, who was a 3-star kid. And I remember watching them in person and just being like, even though those guys were getting all the love about the hitting the deep threes and the windmill dunks, dude, he was the one getting things rolling. You know, he would hit open shots. He was doing the dirty work, you know, and I'm thinking, this is a guy who's on an all-star team who has no ego. You know what I mean? He's just like, you could tell that he was going to be a good player. So
I love his goofy ass, man, and I don't give
yeah.
a shit what anybody has to say about it. He plays with his heart on his sleeve because he wants to win. And like, dude had 30 points, 5 steals, 5 assists, two rebounds.
Yes.
Dude, and on 11 shot. That dude, can we talk about that pass that he made to Justin Harmon with like 1 second left?
I want to devote. We're going to give 5 minutes here to Coleman because he's been such an enigma. You know, he's such an ire of the people. He irritates. Like I still heard like a couple rumblings behind me, like sit his ass down. He never fouls him, but you know. And I'm just like, he has a few moments of there where immaturity pops through. But here's what I said: what should Hawkins' legacy be here at Illinois? I think, in my opinion, I think this year, I think he's changed the perception of what he is and what it should be more than anybody that I can remember, Kev. I think going into this year, people were like, yeah, he can be an NBA guy, but he's just immature and we'll be ready for him to leave. And, you know, he stinks guarding people in the post, blah, blah, blah. But let me just tell you this. This guy this year played on pretty much one leg against Marquette because he loves the program. He's guarding guys he shouldn't. And you know what? He's not bitching about it. He's just giving you 110% every game. And he's doing his damnedest. And he's going to be on the all Big Ten team, by the way, defensive team.
It'll probably be third team. All Big Ten.
No, it'll be all Big Ten defensive team. That's all. And then all Big Ten third team.
Yep.
Okay. So you're all defense and you're one of the top 15 offensive players. You know, so hell of a player, I think. What a year for a guy like that. And to me, as much as Shannon is like he can take over a game, we've seen it doesn't matter how many points you can score in a game, you can still lose it. Yeah. But to be a top 10, 15 defensive efficiency player, Illinois is just a different team when Coleman Hawkins isn't playing, you know, especially defensively.
I get worried every time he gets in foul trouble. Like, yeah. I really think – but dude, and here's something like – today, he scored 13 of our first 23 points and something like 10 of our last 18 points. It was incredible.
Yeah, and this is just, I think, more. It was just a lot coming. This is coming off of to me, he showed me so much from you coming to a game like that against Penn State where whatever reason, these are still young men. Like 35, 36-year-old men some days aren't mentally there. You know what I mean? Like, so I get 21, 22-year-olds have a lot going on. So to just have that kind of game against Penn State and then just rebound in such a fashion that we will never forget, you know, that to me shows you what type of guy and what type of player, what type of man Coleman Hawkins is.
Yeah, he's 12th in the conference in blocks. He's 4th in the conference in steals. I mean, that's just such an incredible stat for him. And, yeah, is he a hothead? Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's how I was as a player, dude.
Same with me. I mean, got some friends that listen to the show could tell you some stories, man. But you know what? Like, where I get most mad at him is he had a play in the Penn State game where he was pissed about a non-call, and he's like this to the refs, and he's slow getting back, and they got a bucket on us. And I think that's where Brad got in his ass about that because, like, frankly, we saw a little bit less animated Coleman today.
Yeah.
It happened to be his career high. That sometimes can resonate with a player. Like I remember as a pitcher, like the coach talking to me off the side is like, dude, when you get pissed that an umpire doesn't call a strike, like you lose your composure. And I remember the next game I came out and I was like, all I'm gonna do is keep my composure. I pitched one of the best games I've ever pitched in my life. And that helped me from then on out. Like I was a better pitcher. I really was, because pitchers as hotheads is not something that lines up. Maybe this is what he needed. Maybe this is what he needed. And my legacy for him, like I look at this and I'll say this first and foremost, for Coleman's sake, I hope he gets drafted. I hope he gets drafted high. For Illinois' sake, I hope we come up with a really nice NIL package that can beat whatever he gets drafted at and he comes back. And we can talk about this again in a year from now.
Oh my goodness, I would love to have him back one more year.
Yeah. I think we all would, right?
But honestly, but I'm gonna be honest, like you were saying, I more want him to get drafted and go live his dream.
Yeah, I remember when people were chanting one more year to Darren Williams, and I was like, make that money, because I think there's a short sightedness with Illinois fans because it doesn't happen all that often for us. Is like when you start getting guys drafted high early, make big money, that helps recruiting. What I really hope for Coleman is he can end this season strong. In the season, these next 4 games, he can have more performances like today and less like Penn State, and Illinois can go and have a tournament run. And I listen to some guy like he can be a guy who can make such a huge difference in the NCAA tournament that the national talking heads can start talking him up. And like, let's be frank, dude. Coleman likes the positive attention. Like, if he's like me at all, and like you talked about, we like the attention. And what better way to get the attention than go out in a NCAA tournament atmosphere and go have a game where he has 18 points on 7 shots and 9 rebounds and 5 assists and 3 blocks and 2 steals.
That's right.
Get us to a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8.
Yeah, get a Sweet 16 game against UNC. Come on, like people are going to be watching that game.
Where he's banging threes because Armando Bacot can't get out on his ass, dude.
Yeah,
Dude, when he passes up threes, tell me this honestly. Everybody listening to this show tonight, I'm talking to you in a bubble right here. I'm not talking to Ryan. I'm talking to you. When he passes threes today, you guys go, damn. You guys, last year, you got mad because he pump faked and did some funky shit. Now we're like, dude, shoot that shit. Shoot that shit. Shoot it. Like, honestly, Illinois fans went from like, don't do the pump fake crap and just pass the ball to now we're all like, dude, we wish you'd shoot almost 10 threes a game. Like, and if you're lying, like he is the most automatic 3-point shooter on the team right now, and a team with Luke Goody and Marcus Damas and Terrence Shannon, guys who are career 35% 3-point shooters in college.
Preston Harmon shooting 36% too. Yeah.
Right. And he was coming in the season sub 30. And we're all like, dude, that's the guy we want taking the 3. Like, dude, that's impressive. That's impressive.
That is exactly why I made this, because I feel like what he's become a guy, and what's the best way I can put this? He's not become someone, he was never someone that we didn't want to play. Like, he was always this enigma, like what I tried to say.
Yeah.
It was never the focal point, but now he's the guy like he can't live without,
Yep.
So he was maybe the bridesmaid, right? Now he's right there. He's the man that we need. And it's for Illinois to have success, to make that deep run, we gotta have Coleman playing like he is right now, and playing with that level head. So anyway, he's going to be a guy I will miss whenever he leaves. I love his what I do love, though, is the field of 68 now. Rob Douster went from hating him to thinking he's the best troll in college basketball.
Oh, he's the best troll in college basketball.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd love to see Donovan Clingan, try to guard Hawkins. True.
One of the things I'd like to talk about a little bit before we wrap up the show tonight.
And Shannon is definitely a top 15, top 20 pick in the NBA draft right now.
And guys, here's something that might burn your craw, stick in your craw, and it's not a Brad Underwood problem. Guys, you're going to have to understand this. Coleman Hawkins' his game is built better for today's modern NBA than the college basketball game is. I watch a lot of NBA. I freaking love the NBA. I will much rather watch a game between the Atlanta Hawks and whomever, let's just say like some mid-level teams, than I would rather watch North Carolina and so-and-so play. Like, unless it's like North Carolina and another top 5 team, like I don't care to watch that. I'd much prefer to watch an NBA game. Dude, Coleman Hawkins and Terrence Shannon's games are both built better for the NBA. Like, the driving lanes that are available for you in the NBA are much better because of the extended 3-point line and the fact that every single guy on the floor can make a 17 to 25-foot jump shot, or else you don't play. It's the reason our guy, we love him to death, isn't in the NBA, and that's Kofi Coburn, because he can't do that. And he clogs up and he takes away space, and he takes away space from drivers. Dude, I know there's some of you out there like, oh, Coleman Hawkins ain't never going to play in the NBA. Coleman Hawkins is a perfect 3-and-D guy. because of his versatility, because of his ability to shoot from deep, and his ability to handle the ball, and his ability to D up guys at multiple positions. Like, he honestly might have a better NBA career than Terrence Shannon. And that's kind of crazy to think about a guy who's averaging 22 points a game for us right now. So,
yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
So Ryan, this week we got a tough week, brother. What are we gonna do, man? We got Minnesota at home, and we've got.
So here's what we got, and this is what I wanted to. This is where we're gonna end up here on this last few minutes, and we're gonna do our final thoughts. So where will Illinois end up? 20-7, 11-5 in the Big Ten. And yes, I said it. I said it again. So how about this? Yep, there we go. 11-5 in the Big Ten. So where will they? Minnesota at home. Why it will be a Minnesota team looking for a big win to notch to its resume. They are not the same team on the road as they are in Minneapolis.
They have Nebraska tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they play Nebraska tomorrow in Pinnacle Bank Arena. So it's going to be we got 2 road games in a row. I think if Nebraska takes care of business there, they're locking themselves into the tournament. I think Nebraska.
I agree.
And that's going to really deflate that team. So they're going to come in probably a lot more defeated. Like if they can win against Nebraska, I think that's really going to you're going to see an Iowan type performance, a team that knows that if we can knock 2 straight quad 1 wins, we can really put ourselves in the tournament picture. But so they have a tough little guard, Elijah Hawkins, a transfer from Howard. And then Dawson Garcia is an all Big Ten type guy that we wanted a couple of years ago.
Yep.
They've got some really good shooters on the outside, Mitchell and Carrington. And then they've got some Pharrell Payne's a load. He's not really super skilled, but he's just 6'11", 260 pounds, super athletic. He's a guy
I love that kid. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. Anybody ever watch his interviews? He seems like such a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Ben Johnson's done with that program is impressive. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. So that's a game that Illinois is going to be favored by probably 8.5 to 9.5 points, if not more. That's a game that I expect Illinois to take care of business. They know what's at stake. And it's at home. It's the second to last home game for guys like Shannon and Damask, Hawkins. And Guerrier, correct.
Harmon, yeah.
But then they go to Wisconsin, who that will be a fun one because right there, as I have up here right now, Illinois – Robbie Hummel, I guess, today on BTN said, if Illinois can finish strong here and, win maybe 3 of the last 4, let's say Illinois loses to Wisconsin, but they take out Purdue at home, which is a top 3 team. And then you take out Iowa and Iowa City. It's another quad 1 win. And they have a nice 1 or 2 games there in the tournament. They could be a 3 seed. So, but it's looking like right now most people have Illinois as a 4 seed, and I would say if Illinois kind of finishes 3-2 these last, 2-2 the last 2-2 the last 4, and then let's say they win 1 or they lose the first game in the tournament, a Big Ten tournament, they'll be a 5 seed at worst, in my opinion. So you're looking at probably another 4-5 matchup in the second round. But again, to me, nothing's going to scare me in this. With the teams that Illinois has there in the 4-5 range, there's really not one team that scares me. I know there's like a Alabama-Auburn type thing that could possibly happen, but, San Diego State maybe. But I think this team I feel confident in can win those matchups. But if you can get to that 3 seed, man, that's crucial. I think there's a lot to fight for too. And who knows, man, maybe Purdue slips up. Maybe Michigan plays the game of their life tomorrow. You never know, man. Who knows? They still have a couple.
What? Who did what?
Yeah, maybe Michigan State clips them in West Lafayette.
That's less funny. Like Michigan. Michigan.
Did you think Ohio State was going to win with a coach who never, in his very first day,
No, Michigan couldn't beat eggs or whipped cream right now. Okay, so let's stop that. Okay.
Wow, you hear that? Hey, shots fired, Juwan. Do something.
They wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight.
Get your
You know
boys
the type,
ready, man.
Hobbs the
Like,
motorbike, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight.
hey, Dougie McDaniel's back at home. I think he's off his suspension from road
Isn't
games.
Tomwa back?
Yeah. Kamwa didn't play against Northwestern. What happened?
I know. I was in Las Vegas, and I capitalized on that.
They were in the game until like 6 minutes left.
Oh, I know. I had Northwestern minus 11.5, and after the first half, I was like, what the hell's going on? No, dude, just put that shit out of your mind. It's irrelevant right now, dude. And honestly, every Illinois fan is in the same boat. We don't give a shit. Like, we don't give a shit about the Big Ten championship. We don't, and we don't really. It's funny. I'm going to Mexico. No, this is a true story. I'm going to Mexico the week of the Big Ten tournament to go visit my brother and sister-in-law. That's where they live in Guatemala. And like, I might be able to hook up some VPN and figure out a way to watch what's going on in the Big Ten tournament. And my wife's like, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, yeah, frankly, I hope we win one, lose one. She's like, what? I'm like, I frankly hope we don't put any effort into the Big Ten tournament. Because I saw a team that put a ton of effort into the Big Ten tournament, losing the second round of Loyola. And we were banged up. We were hurt. We weren't right. I don't care. I don't care about the Big Ten tournament. Illinois, like, listen, guys, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Every Illinois fan needs to understand and realize right now. Illinois can beat every single team in the NCAA tournament field on any given day in a neutral site.
Yeah.
I would put it at Connecticut and Purdue 1 and 2. And actually, I'd put it at Houston 1, Connecticut 2, Purdue 3, in that order of the difficulty. And then everybody else, I really don't give a shit. Like, we can beat every other team in the nation on a neutral court.
Yeah. We've seen
when we decide to defend, when we decide to get in people's shorts and take their milk, like, this team can do that to anybody in the country. Anybody, when they decide it, we can beat anyone in the country. We're like number 5 in KenPom now. We're number 2 in Torvik since the turn of the year in offensive efficiency. If these old guys decide, and this is why today was great. This is why today was phenomenal. Terrence Shannon had 12 points, and we won the game by 10 points. Terrence Shannon was phenomenal on Tony Perkins in the second half. They shot 30. Iowa is a top 20 efficiency team in the nation in the last month. And we shut their water off in the second half, guys. Whether you believe it or not, I don't care about the actual total points.
They actually shot a lot of free throws in the second half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if this team decides to defend, if this team, and Brad did something today that is magnificent. He said, Quincy and Ty, I don't need you if you don't want to be that guy. I've got guys on the bench that will do it. And they did it. And they flat out did it. They did it against a top 20 efficiency team in NCAA basketball in the last month. That's what this season's about. And listen, guys, I have no expectations beyond, like, I just want a second weekend. I just want to go into a Sweet 16 and see my team there that I haven't seen since 2005.
I know.
That's what we all want. And I believe this team can do it. I do
too. I really do. And, while it would be awesome right now to be 21-6 and 12-4 and, man, sitting pretty after that Penn State win.
Oh, God, we'd be top 10.
I know. We'd be back in the top 10. I know I'd love that. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I know it's cliche sometimes, maybe this was something the team actually could use and needed to happen.
I thought so too, Ryan, but it took a second half hockey substitution for that to happen today. I think today was more important than Wednesday.
A second half hockey stuff. And how about that for Brad? Like, I think everybody
Damn right.
Izzo's the only other guy they think of that would do that.
Damn right. Good on him. And you know what? Them dudes we got on the bench can play.
Yeah.
Like, and Ty Rogers. I love Ty Rogers. He plays harder than anybody, but he's making mistakes. Quincy Guerrier, I love you, dude. I love you, 13. You are my dude. Come back. Come back, please.
Hey, he offensively wasn't too bad today.
He was phenomenal. He was great. 9 points in the first half.
I thought I was watching Jerry Maguire for a minute. You complete me.
Dude, I've been pining for that guy for 5 years, and he's finally on our squad, and I want him to be that guy that he was in January where he had 6 double-doubles or something, whatever it was.
All right, I'm going to start off with final thoughts, Kev. I'm sure you're going to have a big zinger for us here. I'm going to give
I wish I had a zinger.
a couple different things. Yeah, I'm letting you go so you can think of one. All right, so congrats to the women's cross country team, who Big Ten champions.
Hold on, let me check that on my bingo card. Keeping it orange and blue was going to talk about women's cross country.
No, not just women's. Sorry, not cross country, track and field. My apologies.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't have that on my bingo card either.
Congrats to those ladies. Also, Illinois women with a big win over Indiana earlier in the week takes on Iowa and Caitlin Clark tomorrow. So make sure you guys are tuning into that. Let's see how well Makaira Cook and those ladies can give them problems in Iowa City. It's good to have Illinois baseball back, but I think it's going to be fun this last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Let's get your seatbelts on. There might be a little turbulent, but I think that this Illinois team is ready to propel Brad Underwood into where everybody it can get off his back and we can be in agreement. So the best time of the year is now upon us. March is about here. And again, big things coming for this podcast. And we'll be announcing those things in the next week or two, slowly but surely. Kev?
I so badly AJ Bagan, it is golf season, and our guy ADDC didn't qualify, didn't make the cut, and neither did Nick Hardy on the PGA Tour this weekend down in Mexico. But damn it. In the world of college basketball, where if everything doesn't go your way as a player, you decide to hop on the bus and go somewhere else and transfer and do all this other crap. We got to take the time right now to recognize a guy who spent the better part of 2 years not really playing, and at least the first year, his freshman year, to honor a guy who had 30 points today on 11 shots. He had 5 assists, 5 steals, and 2 rebounds. Can we just damn near give it up and stop being upset with a guy because he's upset when a foul call doesn't go his way, and just give a dude his flowers? Can we just appreciate the season that Coleman Hawkins has had here at Illinois? Remarkably efficient. Like, you go back and you remove the games where he played on one leg and look at how damn good this dude has been all season. He guards guys that he shouldn't be guarding. He is a stretch 4 guarding a 5. He is a stretch 4 that is required to guard 1s, and he frankly probably does a better job of that than he does guarding big bully 5s.
Yeah.
But the guy does it all for this team. And never once has he complained other than to official during the game. And he had 30 points today on 11 shots. It is the most efficient game that I've ever seen in an Illinois uniform since Brandon Paul had 43 against Ohio State on 15 shots. And I just want to tell you, Coleman, Rod, your dad, the whole Hawkins family, thank you. We needed that today. We needed you more than ever today to have the best game of your career. You got timely steals, unbelievably timely steals. And as a matter of fact, the Big Ten Network even missed one today on that steal breakout where you passed to Terrence and he passed to Justin Harmon. I have no idea how you stole the ball because you were already leading down the court by the time the cameras turned it on. So thank you. Thank you, Coleman Hawkins. All you Illinois fans that ever shit on that dude, send him a thank you tweet. Tell him thank you. Because trust me, I think I know the guy a little bit, even though I've never met him. I think he's a words of affirmation guy. And I think he'd truly appreciate your love, your support. And I think my final thought today deserves to be pointed his way. And that's that.
That's correct.
And yeah, I've had a few drinks tonight, but I appreciate Coleman Hawkins.
Yeah. It's all right, man. Get a little buzz
I'm
going.
a little no. I'm frankly I'm a little emotional about it because everybody wants to leave school nowadays. And listen, that's why we love Terrence Frazier so much. That's why we love DeMonte so much because guys don't stick around in school anymore, and these dudes did.
Yeah.
And dude, Coleman Hawkins is my favorite player on the Illinois basketball team. And you know who's going to be my favorite player next year? Luke Goody. And you know who's going to be my favorite player after that? If he sticks around, it's going to be Dang Danger. My favorite player is the guy who's been here the longest. And it will always be that way forever.
Well, I think it's beautifully said. I'm actually going to probably go watch the replay here in a little bit. I got to enjoy it in person. Yeah, I think I'm going to watch the replay, Kev. You guys should do it with us, man. So
we should do that live sometime. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we should do a replay watch. But anyway, so enjoy your guys' Sunday. There's a bunch of Big Ten hoops. I'll be watching that and tuning into that. And we won't be back till next week. We who knows what's going to go on. We might do one next Saturday. It could be Sunday. But I will be jumping on the Big Ten show with my buddy Sonny from Illini the Illini cast. He does the Big Ten show. I'll be talking more Illini tomorrow night. Kev's going to be busy doing some important things with family. That's why we jumped on tonight. So have fun tomorrow night, Kev. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, just frankly, my wife and kids are gone this weekend until tomorrow night. And I didn't want to take time out of being back with them when they got back. And I said, Ryan, hey, it's the night of the show. Let's do the show. And we took opportunities. So thank you all for tuning in on a weird night, as you guys always do. We appreciate you guys, but always family first and all that we do.
I'm just loving the way this podcast is rolling. People love it. It's going good. So
yeah, me too, man.
I'm excited about it. Anyway, Kevin, I have to give Kev some dap here before we tune out. Kevin is and has become such a great father, husband. He's a better, as much as he loves the Illini, I think he's even better husband and father. So you always do what's right for your wife and your kids. So I salute you on that. And with that said, Swami out.
ILL.